So I will preference this by saying that this is a Souls-like game inspired by Pinocchio, and that's all I'm gonna say. And now we're gonna watch the madness. Oh, dude, just look at the setting, dude.
It is like it does seem like a very cool game.
Oh, dude, it's like it's got that Lovecraftian Bloodborne
Hmm.
feel. Like it's just it's amazing. Look at your arm.
Yep.
You got the same arm. It's just like Sekiro with the
Yep.
arm.
It's,
Oh, dude.
and like you said, it's got that look of Bloodborne, what everybody's like been hoping for to
Yes.
come back. So
Yeah, yeah. So, like a game like this is kind of like what I was excited about when Elden Ring
mhm.
dropped, is I wanted more of a Bloodborne esque type of game, and we didn't end up getting it, obviously,
Mhm.
but I think this one is going to be super
Yeah,
good.
it's
Even just look at the even look at the graphics, and then just look at this boss,
mhm.
that's insane. That's an insane visual right
Yeah,
there. Look at the arms. You can bring in the magic. Like it looks like you can have certain types of
right.
builds. I'm curious to see what that
And
is.
just bringing the
Like what is
whole
that?
thing of like Pinocchio to a dark game like this is like insane.
Right.
But it's funny. So
Yeah, like I think of
the
like
first interpretation or the first original writing of Pinocchio was more dark than the Disney interpretation. So this is probably
yeah,
more catered
yeah,
to that kind
1000%.
of feel.
Yeah. So I think of like Alice Madness
Hmm.
Returns. I don't know if you guys have ever played that game, but just kind of like a very dark video game interpretation of like a classic story. And I'm just super
Yeah,
excited for this. It just looks so
it does. It's
badass.
got that
But
very
yeah,
clean look to it.
yeah, but it's dropping in August. So I pre-ordered it already, but yeah, I'm super excited. Like you said, dude, it's not based on the Disney
Right.
Pinocchio story. It's based on the original Pinocchio story of the one by Carlo Coletti, which is just actually a very, very dark, not child-friendly version of this story. And I'm super
Yeah.
excited to see
Yeah.
it.
And it's really cool that
What?
they're so it's gonna take place like 1800s, 1900s, like early one of the two, like late
Yeah, it's gonna
1800s or
be.
early 1900s, set in the city of Kratz. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be sick. Story wise, they're saying the story is gonna take about 30 to 60
Okay.
hours, which I'm okay with. That's kind of around right around the time that I would expect the game to be. And also, I know you were asking about this, so and obviously the big thing with Pinocchio is the nose,
Right.
right? So when he tells a lie, the nose grows. There is an aspect in the game in which the nose does play a part, but they won't release what it
Hmm.
does, which I'm super curious to see how they're going to put that in. And the whole thing with the Lies of P, why they titled it that way, is typically in a like a Bloodborne style or like something like that, you run into NPCs, and that the NPCs in this game are going to be very, very tricky, at least on your first
Hmm.
playthrough. So why it's called Lies of P, from what I'm gathering, is you actually have to, when you run into these NPCs, you have to decide whether you want to tell them the truth or if you want to lie to them, and that drastically affects your
Hmm.
storyline. So, for example, you could run into an NPC and they could ask, "Where are you going?" And you could tell them, "I'm going X, Y, and Z to fight this person," right? Now, if you tell them that, they could end up there and help you and make the boss fight even
Hmm.
easier. Or they could end up there and halfway through the boss fight, they ambush you. And now the boss fight is turned into like a dual boss fight.
Wow. That's actually I was gonna say that's what
Yeah.
I read is like the more you lie, the like more like it's supposed to streamline to the end in like a certain way. And if you tell the truth, it's the same thing. So that's a
Yeah.
really cool aspect of the game for sure. Um, it's also
Yeah.
really cool that they're using the bosses as like from the source material. Like, so it's like interpretations of like the Pinocchio encounters that he had, which is I think is really interesting and cool too.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it's sticking very much to the storyline of the
Hmm.
original story. And I do recommend, if you have not, like, if you're into that kind of thing and you like kind of like the darker, like the grim fairy tales
Hmm.
version of these stories, check out the Carlo Coletti version
Yeah.
of Pinocchio, because it is very, very dark. It's not a super long read at all. I actually read it when I heard that this game was coming out, and that story is
Yeah.
crazy. Like, I have no idea why Disney thought that that would make a good
Yeah.
movie. And I mean, they obviously made it
Hmm.
work, but like the real story is like
Yeah, so
insane.
you're not going to see a little cricket on Pinocchio's shoulder the whole time. But they did reference,
Nope.
obviously, Geppetto. I think that's one of the characters that he was talking to in the trailer. But yeah, they reference
Yes.
Jiminy Cricket coming into the play, like as a character as well. It's just how are they going to integrate him?
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's not going to be the
Yeah.
Disney. I'm going to do a song and I'm going to
Yeah.
do a song and dance
Yeah.
version of Jiminy Cricket. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm super excited about it. It's got everything
Hmm.
I want. I love this series. I love
Hmm.
Soulsborne's games, and like I've been waiting for one to come out that just really hits. You know what I mean? Like, there's been attempts, Souls clones, right? So I picked up Thymasia. I picked up Mortal Shell. Like, these are all supposed to be
Right.
very like Souls influenced games, and it just wasn't the
Jedi
same. It just
Survivor.
it just wasn't. Jedi Survivor is a little bit different, but yeah, it just wasn't the
Right.
same. Jedi Survivor, I feel like it's got its own source
Hmm.
material.
Yeah.
So like, I'm a huge Star
Right.
Wars nerd, so like it was okay. Star Wars got a free
Yeah.
pass, but like the other clones that tried to just
Hmm.
copy it, it just kind of fell flat for me. So super excited about that. But it does look same mechanics, so it's got what they call the perfect guard, which is basically your, Sekiro Bloodborne parry system. It looks like you're gonna be able to do
Hmm.
builds.
There's three combat styles, is what I read.
Yeah, three combat styles. So it looks like you're gonna have an agility, you're gonna have a strength
Mhm.
build, and what was the last one? I'm not sure
I
what the
don't
last
think I
one
didn't see the
was.
last
Kind
one.
of like maybe like a
Yeah, I think that
hodgepodge
actually that's what
of
yeah,
like,
what I read or like watched is like, yeah, it's gonna be those two, and then the middle is kind of something combining
yeah,
the two. And it's really also cool that like you'll have 30 different weapons that you can combine to make like a whole bunch of different combinations, which
yes,
is really cool as well. I think they said there's like you can have
yeah.
over like 100 weapon combinations, which is doesn't seem like a lot, but trying to piece together 100 weapons is crazy. So
Yeah, because the one thing that like Souls games have is you kind of have to decide, like, do you want a heavy weapon and you're going to two-hand it, or are you going dual wield or something like this? It doesn't seem like there's anything like that, because your one hand is a
hmm,
prosthetic, just like in
yep,
Sekiro. And like being able to craft that cosmetic into a weapon, and then also just hold any weapon in your right hand, the combinations are
yep.
crazy.
And it's really cool with
Yeah, so I'm super
his
excited.
opposite arm, like the arm, the other opposite arm. It's like got different like capabilities, like elemental capabilities. You can like shoot fire or a
Yes.
grappling hook or like electricity, which is again really
Yeah.
cool. These aren't the type of games I play, but when I was watching the trailer and watching some of the highlights and gameplay of it, I'm like, wow, this is definitely interesting. And the way they're spinning some of the mechanics of the game is really cool.
Yeah, because I mean, it looks like, I I hate to keep comparing it to, Souls and stuff like that, but it basically is. It's basically just a Souls clone. But the thing with that is, in Souls, you kind of have to decide, like, are you going to be, what type of build are you going to be? And you got to kind of go all for it, right? So if you want to go strength build, but you also want to use a little bit of magic, that doesn't really
Right.
work. You know what I mean? Because you either got to go all magic or no magic. And it looks like in this game, you're going to be able to kind of have that strength build or that dex build that you want, and then also be able to play around with, like what you said, like the fire and the electricity and stuff like that. And that's an experience in a Soulsborne that I've never really had before, because I just always go strength build. I just want to hit stuff hard. Like, yeah, I've never been able to use like the magic before, so I'm gonna be trying out that electricity and the fire and
Yeah.
all that sweet stuff. I'm really excited for it.
And
It's gonna be
I'm
good.
like the character that likes to just speed run and run up really close, move as quick as I possibly can. That's how I like to play games.
Yeah, and I think that's actually going to work out well for you because it looks like a game again like Bloodborne that really kind of is going to reward you for being
Mhm.
aggressive, not so much staying back and like kind of being afraid to get into
Right.
the fight. It really looks like it's a game where it wants you to like just run in there and get right into it. So it might be right up your alley, just
I'll have to give
saying.
it a shot. I'll have to give it a shot. And maybe you'll convince me to do one of the Dark Souls eventually. Who knows? Who knows? Those aren't my types of
You
games.
could
Um, but like I said, it is really cool. A different spin on such a classic story. Um, Especially because most people like remember it as a Disney animated film of like Pinocchio, happy, I'm a real boy, like that kind of.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. One day I'm going to be a real
And
boy.
then, oh no, his nose is super long.
Oh no.
I hope Pinocchio in this Lies of P says, I'm a real boy.
You know he's gonna
I
drop
hope
it.
at some
You know
point
he's gonna
something
drop it.
crazy, like a cameo of the original cast is in there.
That'd be amazing. But yeah, like I didn't even know that. I didn't even know this. Like the Carlo Collodi story even
Yeah.
existed. No, like I didn't know that the source material existed until this game was announced. Because I was like, why are they doing such
Yeah.
a dark version of like Pinocchio? And I'm like, why? This is so crazy. Like I understand Alice Madness
Mhm.
Returns because that story, even for Disney, is already
Right.
kind of like dark and
Right.
weird. And but Pinocchio is not. And I was just like, where did they
Yeah.
get this idea from? And then I'm like, oh, the random story is terrifying. Like I could never,
Yeah.
you could never read this story to a child.
Well, somebody must have because Disney took it. And he's like, hey, do you think we could turn this into something happy and positive? Yeah.
Do you think we could take your just shockingly like freak show story and turn it into a
Yeah.
children's
What
book?
do they call it when they bring a group of people together and like to like test the material? What do they call that?
Oh, oh, like a AB beta, like a AB
Yeah,
group.
something like that. They had a bunch of kids, and there's like the kids are like screaming to these like Disney's like reading this book to them, and they're like screaming, and then like they're like, "Can you think we could turn this into a kids show?" And like they're all like bawling, but like, and then Disney's like, "Yeah, we can." And then
All the kids are just hiding
Yeah.
under the table crying, and some corporate executives like, I don't think this is gonna work, Bob.
Yeah.
Like,
Or there's some one like
yeah,
crazy kid that's like, "Yes, this will work." Like, you know what I mean? Like,
this is the best story I've ever heard.
just like looking into their
But,
souls.
yeah, right. It's just some crazy like
Yep.
staring right
Yep.
through you kind of stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, this kid needs to get
Yep.
out of here. But yeah, like I said, dude, I'm super excited about it. There's gonna be multiple endings. Again, it's gonna be tied to how you
Mhm.
progress yourself through the game, either lying or telling the truth to all these NPCs and stuff like that. So the replay value is gonna be there. If you do read the story, you'll know what this means. There is an Easter egg in the game about the blue fairy. So if you do read the story, there's real
Yep.
Easter eggs. The blue fairy looks pretty
Mhm.
badass. I'm not gonna lie, that part looks pretty badass. And yeah, like I said, they're gonna do the elongated nose, so it's gonna have everything that you want. And the one cool thing is if you rock Xbox and you're on Xbox Game Pass, it's gonna be available
Day
day
one.
one.
That was what I was gonna
So,
say. So that's really
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, if you rock Game Pass, it's going to be available day one. So no waiting
yep.
for the drop
Yep.
or anything
No
like that.
extra
You can just
cost if you
jump
already
right in
have Game
there.
Pass, which is really neat. I would
Right. Yeah.
imagine if like your nose turns into a weapon.
You're just,
Hi-ya! Wow.
you're just like, on God, on God.
That'd be crazy.
Dude,
But yeah,
I
it's gonna be
mean,
super cool. I will
it-
give it a shot since it will be on Game Pass. It's not gonna cost me anything extra because I do have Game Pass. But and it's supposed to come out this
Yeah.
year. I think at some point in December. Is that what you had said? August. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually going to come out in August, so it's going to be coming
Yeah,
out pretty
yeah.
soon. And like I said, if you're a fan of the Alice, or you like a little bit of darker stuff, or you like any
Yep.
Souls type of franchise or something, and you got the Game Pass, give it a shot. It's totally
Mhm.
free, and it might be really badass. I know I'm excited
Right.
about it.